Welcome everyone to our Wednesday call. Gosh, I cannot even believe that we're in the new year, and I'm so grateful all of you are here, and I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. Mine was really nice. It was quiet, thank God, and I had some really great times. One of the things that happened over the new year that I wanted to share with you all, just kind of a quick side note before we get into the teaching, is so some of you might have seen my Facebook is public. We don't have to be friends. You can always check out my Facebook. But some of you might have seen that I was trying to help a dog get rescued. I was going to do the rescuing. And it was really funny. He's a big pit bull. He was 10 and a half years old. And he reminded me of my pit bull that passed in May, Shrek. And so it was an urgent plea. This family was losing their home. They were going to have to put him down on, they said, the 1st of January. And so of course, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'll take it. Because I did fine with Shrek here in the apartment. But when I got there, well, and backing up a little bit. So I posted it on Facebook.
Griffin Goldsmith's home in Altadena was destroyed. Taylor Goldsmith.
There we go. I don't usually post when I'm going to do something. I usually post after I've done something, but for whatever reason, I posted about Caesar, and I posted that I was going to try to go rescue him and to please send good thoughts, right? So I have a lot of people interacting on Facebook and sending really good energy. But when I got there, and even before I got there, I just had this sick feeling. I just didn't feel good about it. It just wasn't clicking, and I knew. And so this goes back to, you got to trust your intuition, right? And it wasn't like a panicky, it was just this doesn't feel right. So I got there to the house and it wasn't right. He was much more energetic than I was anticipating. And it was just failure after failure after failure. And we put this little slip leash on him, and then he immediately started choking, like coughing and vomiting. And it's like, oh my gosh. So I was so upset, and I went out to my car and I sat there and I cried, and I was like, okay, you're making this about you. Get back in there. So I went back in there and I was like, okay, let me get some more history about this dog. Let me get some more pictures. Let's figure this out. And so then we figured out, okay, well, he wouldn't get put down until the 3rd. So that gave us some extra time. And then, and I was much more positive about it. And I was talking to the family and really helping to support them as they made this really horrific decision, because they'd had Caesar since he was a puppy. So this dog had been with this family for 10 and a half years, and he'd been in the same house, and he'd had a yard, right? I live in a high rise. I live in a place where every time the elevator doors open, you don't know what you're going to get when you're a dog. And for Caesar, losing his family of 10 and a half years and coming to my place wouldn't have been a soft landing. It would have been a very stressful landing. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, he needs a yard. He needs quiet. He needs possibly another dog, because he was living with 2 other dogs. And so by the time I got back in my car, I got a message from the woman that initially posted about Caesar, Susie, who is the founder of Zeb's Wish, which is where I teach some of my classes. And she said, we have 2 fosters lined up. And one of them was a dog trainer and who had 2 dogs. And so she ended up taking them, and she lives on this big property, and she sent videos where and you can see all this on my Facebook. And again, you don't have to be friends with me. I'm public, so you can go and look. But the videos were so amazing. Caesar was walking. He wasn't pulling like he was with me. He was just all calm. He saw chickens. He was calm. And so that was, I went on the 30th. The 31st, New Year's Eve, is when he was adopted or fostered. And then on the 1st, he found his forever home. And it's 2 women, they're a couple, and they have another pit bull, and it's a little girl, and they took her over to meet Caesar, and it was love at first sight, and they were madly in love with each other. And it just makes me want to cry even talking about it, because I'm sharing this with all of you, obviously, because we're all animal people. We all want to hear these wonderful stories, but I want to share with you something really important as you go into this year, because this is, as I said in my email to all of you, this is a 1 year. So a 1 year is all about new beginnings, right? So we can look at Caesar's story and say, oh my gosh, what an incredible new beginning for him. He got this incredible soft landing, and now he's starting his year with an amazing family. So it's going to be a really good thing for him. A 1 year is all about beginnings. It's about starting things, and it's about hope, right? And faith. One is also in tarot, the magician. So this year is a 1 year, which means it's going to be so easy for you to manifest. And we can look at Caesar's story as a perfect situation of manifestation in play. So, of course, Caesar's not thinking, oh my gosh, I hope I find the perfect family. They have to have a yard. They have to have this. They have to have that. No, Caesar's just in it, right? But for all of us around him, we're all putting forth really good energy, not, oh my gosh, this is a sad situation. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? He's going to get put down. There was none of that on my Facebook, right? It was all, you've got this. Oh my gosh, yay for Caesar. And then when I posted about the foster, it was like, oh my gosh, yay for Caesar. So there's all of these really wonderful, positive energy going into this situation with Caesar. And he ends up in the perfect home for him, right? With a pit bull. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Kirsten, yeah, thank you for that. She said she saw my message and said it was so uplifting. But we have to remember that we can be in a really dire situation like Caesar was. Things can look really dark. Things can look like there is no hope, but we have to believe that there is something better. We have to let go. Okay, I know what it looks like on the surface, but that's not my reality. I know something better is in the works. I know something better is going to happen. And that goes back to all is well and everything always works out for me. And you know that I always say this. Thank you, Catherine. I always say everything always works out for me. And I use that mantra all the time. And I cannot tell you how many times dark situations have been turned around for me just by saying everything always works out for me. And you have to believe it. You have to stop for a second. And it's really funny because this is something we teach, right? In class, when you take an animal Reiki class, we teach you the Joshin Kokyo, and we'll say, put your hand on your heart, put your hand on your hara, your belly. And I can't even tell you how many times over the last 2 weeks in different videos and on social media where people have been doing this breathing exercise where you breathe in for 4, and that's not what we teach in Animal Reiki, but it's kind of similar, but you're breathing in for 4 and then you're releasing for 8. And remember, we breathe out of our mouth. So for the count of 8, and how it brings calmness into your body. So now when your body starts to get calm, now you can say, everything always works out for me. Everything always works out for me. And then you can also say it is safe for everything to work out for me. Because when you do that, you're changing the energy. And this is all about energy. And we can look at Caesar's story. And I encourage you, please go on my Facebook. Please read all about it because it's so inspiring. For me, I'm just like, oh my God, what a way to start the year. That this is a perfect example of how manifestation can work for all of us this year. It's a magician year. It's a 1 year. And it's also in numerology, if you don't bring the 10, it's a 10 year. If you don't bring it down to a 1, it's 10, which is Wheel of Fortune, which Wheel of Fortune reminds us we're going to have up times, we're going to have down times. But if we stay within that wheel, within the knowledge of what goes up is going to come around, it's always going to come up and down. There is no really good and really bad. It's just life. It's just going. And so when you stay in that energy of this is life, everything is happening for my higher good, then you're in this cycle and you're not fighting. If you're on the outside of the wheel, oh my gosh, just think of yourself like on a wheel, on a bicycle wheel. If you're on the outside, you're getting hit, you're getting thrown around. It's hard. So if you're like, get really excited when good things happen and then really sad when bad things happen, you're constantly in this up and down, up and down. So when we think about this year, think about all the amazing, wonderful opportunities this year is bringing to you. And if you are in some down times right now, remember it's going up. It's going up. It's coming. It's probably coming faster than you think. So I just wanted to start off our call, since it is the first call of the new year, with this and just hopefully inspire you and encourage you to look for the positive. Don't focus on the negative. And especially right now, I mean, we wake up every morning, it's a new traumatic experience. We have to stay in the positive. We have to send light and love because that is so much more powerful, even though it may not feel that way. And we look at Caesar's story and it looked so dark. It looked so hopeless. And, because how many rescues have we been around where it takes a dog a long time to get rescued? There is an endless supply of suffering animals. But here is Caesar, and he literally within 48 hours, everything turns around for him. And that can happen for us. And I really think that was the universe just setting an example. This is how quickly you can turn things around. This is how quickly things can go from negative to positive. So now let's get into why we're here. And why we're here is we're going to talk about Animal Reiki classes, or even like you can apply this to any kind of studies, but we're going to talk specifically about Animal Reiki. So for those of you who might be listening, you might think, okay, well, I don't know Animal Reiki. Do I have to make a big investment in a class if I'm not even sure Animal Reiki is what I want to do? Or maybe you're not even sure, maybe you know Animal Reiki and you're curious about the Let Animals Lead method, but you aren't sure if like this system is the right one for you. Because I mean, I'm here to say, and oh, thank you, Mary Ellen. Thank you. Mary Ellen said, Caesar's story is the kind of story rescue people live for. And it's so true. But when we're talking about Animal Reiki and we're talking about the Let Animals Lead method, you know, of course, I'm biased. Kathleen's biased. Kelly's biased. But that doesn't mean that it is the exact right system for you. And you should never succumb to peer pressure. You should never succumb to people saying, oh, well, this is the only way. If any teacher tells you this is the only way, run, go away. Do not study with that teacher, because that teacher isn't open to other possibilities. I would never tell you that the Let Animals Lead method is the only way. And, you know, I just got this reinforced to me recently when, so I'm not sure if some of you might be in Mighty Networks, and Kathleen had, so let me back up a little bit. I had sent out Bernie Fisher, who is a longtime SARA member, had given us the distant Reiki study, right? And so Kathleen had the woman who was in charge of that study on her Mighty Networks, and she talked to everyone about that study. Well, here's the interesting thing. The study was very effective, but she was ICRT, which is William Rand. She didn't know Let Animals Lead, yet she had this very effective study, and she's going to do another study because she felt that the humans, which we know, affect the animals. And so she's doing a new study now where the people are also getting Reiki at the same time as the animals. So this is a really great study. But again, she's ICRT. She's not Let Animals Lead. She might be beaming. They might be focused on what's wrong. Now we know from Kathleen's first book, Animal Reiki, that that's how she was practicing Animal Reiki, and it worked about 75% of the time. But she'll be the first one to tell you that it didn't always work. And the reason for that is, so yeah, Elizabeth, ICRT it's the International, I don't know, somebody else probably knows, International something Reiki, I don't know. I think it's ICRT. I hope that's it. Anyway, it's William Rand's group. If you look up, International Center for Reiki Training. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. And Linda might even have studied with William Rand. I know we have some people who have studied with William Rand. William is a wonderful teacher. William has done so much for the world of Reiki. So we don't, you know, I'm not here to say, oh God, don't study with William, because that isn't my call. That's your call. I personally have never studied with William, only because I studied with Kathleen and I grew with Kathleen, and I saw firsthand what happens through teaching too, firsthand what happens when people try to beam or they try to focus on what's wrong. And I've seen how animals react to that. So for me, I'm coming from experience and from my knowledge and you know, my background. But that doesn't mean that what I'm doing resonates with you. And you should only be looking for classes and teachers who resonate with you, who, when you read what their class is about, or maybe you see like a YouTube like this one, and you think, wow, I really like that person. I like what they're saying. It's really resonating with me. I feel in alignment with it. And then you can study further. Now, I've had teachers, Yakutin Inamoto, oh my gosh, highly recommend Yakutin Inamoto. I know he's doing a class in Hawaii, a level 3. So it's not a teacher training, you know, it's the levels 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's his 3rd level. So you have to have at least Reiki 2. And that's what Kathleen, me, Kelly, Jamie. We had like a group of 8 of us that went up to right outside of Seattle on Bainbridge Island and studied with him. And it was amazing. He is just the most incredible teacher. I really resonated with him also because of the history. He was very close to the original history. And a lot of what he shared with us has been verified as true. We had Justin Stein on here. Justin Stein is also a fan of Inamoto, and I know that Inamoto uses some of his research, as does Nicholas Pearson, right? So you have to, when you're looking for a class, you got to look first at the teacher who is doing it, and then look to see if they have free offerings. All good teachers will offer free offerings because that's how we get people to know us, right? So maybe they have articles, maybe they have YouTube videos, maybe they have, you get on their mailing list and you can get some free offerings from them that way. So there's lots of different ways that you can find first a teacher that you want. So like if you're interested in Animal Reiki, now, if you're looking at any other subject outside of Animal Reiki, just always make sure that you're asking yourself, like for me, okay, so for me, AI, right? AI. Oh, and I have to know AI for work and I have to know AI for SARA on some things, right? And so I'm always like, oh, I need to sign up for this AI class. I need to do this. Da, da, da. And it's like, we have to stop and ask ourselves, how ready am I for a class, right? Because sometimes we're pushing ourselves to take a class and we're not even ready for it. We just are doing it because we feel like, oh, I need to, or like, let's say you're listening to me or somebody else, like with Yakutin, with Sensei Yakutin Inamoto. Oh my gosh, I need to take this class, so there's pressure and there's like this FOMO that starts to happen. But we really need to step back and say, how much do I really want to take this class? How much will I use this information? So a lot of people I know will take a teacher training class. Like it's like the natural progression. You take level 1, you take level 2. Okay, then you take the teacher training in the Animal Reiki, the Let Animals Lead lineage. That's how it goes, right? Or even if you're talking about another lineage, levels 1, 2, 3, and they take 4. You might feel some pressure, either inner pressure or pressure from your teacher. I've known teachers who will be in a level 2 or 3 and just say, okay, are you ready to sign up for the teacher training now? And you're kind of like, wait, I'm not even finished with this class yet. Why are we talking about the next class? I need to study, I need to learn, I need to acclimate, right? And so we really have to ask ourselves, how ready am I? And how much pressure am I feeling to do a level that maybe I'm not really ready for? And there's nothing wrong with that, because remember, this is a personal practice. I know there are some people who have been level 1 and they're happy with level 1. They don't want to go to level 2. Totally fine. There's people at level 2 who don't want to go any further than level 2. That's completely fine. If you join SARA as a practitioner member, obviously you have to study the Let Animals Lead way. But if you join SARA as a practitioner, there's classes you can teach without being a teacher. And we did that on purpose because we know not everyone wants to be an official, Animal Reiki teacher. There's a lot of pressure for that. So we just have to ask ourselves as we're looking at this, where am I? Do I want to just take some free studies? And of course, there are lots of free studies. This isn't free, but it is a fundraiser. I am going to do an introduction to Animal Reiki. And it should be introduction to Animal Reiki for Reiki practitioners because it's through Reiki Home. So I'm going to gear it more towards Reiki people who want to learn more about Animal Reiki. And in that introduction class, I'm not going to be pushing levels 1 and 2. It's like, if this resonates with you, here's our website. But if, a lot of what I teach on these free calls, you can use immediately. The breathing, the focusing on yourself, all is well. You are safe. You are loved. All is well. I was saying to Caesar, like I was telling you, I always say everything always works out for me. I was saying to Caesar, everything always works out for you. Everything always works out for Caesar. Everything always works out for him. I just kept saying that over and over. Every time I think, oh gosh, like when I was in the house, because as soon as I got out, it was like good news. It was just so crazy how fast that happened. But we just have to make sure that we're getting what we need before we sign up for a class. That's really important, because if you're not prepared, if you don't know exactly what you need before you sign up for a class, then you're not going to get what you need out of that class. It's not going to be what's meant for you. And I know that I've had some bad experiences in classes. I know Kathleen had a really bad experience with an animal communicator, a famous one. And she went to their class and she ended up walking out because it just was not resonating with her. And, and this was years and years and years ago. So back before there was as much information at your fingertips like we have now. So she probably couldn't have done as much research as we can now, because I think this was even before YouTube. So, but now we have this great resource, which is YouTube and the internet and social media. Go to somebody's social media site. And that's another thing. Go to the social media site. Are you resonating with what they're putting out? Because I can tell you right now, I've had a beef with a teacher about what he put on his social media, and it was bad. And he and I parted ways in a really bad way because of what he put on social media. So, it's really important for us. It's really important for us to be in sync with whoever we're going to learn from. And the person I was learning from, the person that I got, that person, I was brought to that person through other people, right? And so it's like everybody's taking this class and everybody's studying with him and blah, 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 blah. And so then there's that peer pressure. And although I learned a lot from this person, it got to a point, the person started to change. And that happens too. So, don't be afraid to say, yeah, I studied with this person. I used to follow them, but I don't anymore. It's okay. People change. We change. Our wants change. So just make sure that when you go to find a teacher, you're resonating with that teacher, because you will have such a great experience if you resonate with that teacher. When you go to their class, whether it's online or in person, you're going to feel connected to that person. And I can't tell you how many times I've been in classes, both with and without Kathleen, where people come and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm finally meeting you. I feel like I know you, which is really wonderful as a teacher to hear, because it's like, oh, great. They were watching me, they were reading or whatever it is, and they still wanted to come and study. So it's like very nice to get that. So Carolyn said, what's the difference between teacher training and level 3? So somebody else could probably answer this better, because I've never taken traditional Reiki. I've only studied with Sensei Yakutin Inamoto, Nicholas Pearson, and Franz Stine. So I don't know. By the time I was studying with Kathleen, she wasn't teaching the traditional. She was teaching level 1, level 2, and then Animal Reiki level 3. I think she's changing that a little bit, but so maybe that's what you're asking, Carolyn. I don't know if you're asking about Kathleen's level 3. I think that Kathleen is now doing a level 3 and a teacher training. So it's almost like there's 4. Like the rest of us, though, it's only level 1, 2, and 3. But I think with Kathleen, she's doing something where you can take a level 3 and learn the energy and the meaning of the third symbol, but you don't have permission to teach the Let Animals Lead, I think, is what that is. And then yeah, Nikki, I don't know. Nikki says she learned from her Reiki master that if you achieve 3B, you can attune others. Yeah, I don't know anything about the Western way. But again, so like this is a really good teachable moment here, because you kind of want to know those things, right? Am I going to have to do 4 classes before I can teach, or am I only going to have to do 3? So Carolyn said, let animals lead 1, let animals lead. Oh, yeah. And then she does have a level 3, but she's the only one that does. So like the rest of us, Kelly, me, and the other teachers, we are, and like Linda's a teacher as well, Linda Crabtree, who's on, and I think Nancy also, who's on, is also a teacher, and so is Claudia. So yeah, Claudia, you raised your hand. Yeah, go ahead and unmute.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say with the traditional or the Western Reiki, the not animal Reiki, it's what I think, who was it said?
Nikki said you can
Nikki,
be.
yeah. So in level 3, you learn the final symbol, the 4th symbol, but you cannot attune people yet. And then when you do the final level, the 4th or 3B, that's when you also learn how to attune people to Reiki. So that's in human Reiki, the
Well, and I
difference.
think I get the feeling, because I haven't taken that class with Kathleen yet. I get the feeling that's what Kathleen is doing as well. Like she's teaching the level 3, kind of like along Williams' lineage as well. And then you can't attune people or teach people until you do that. She doesn't call it 3B. She calls it, the Animal Reiki teacher training. So going to this, so let's say you're ready and you want to take a class. Um, what how do you know? Okay, so here's a really good example. You can look at, I don't think I have one here. Okay, so if you look at Kathleen's manuals, our manuals, the Let Animals Lead manuals, they're really thick. They're like 250 pages, right? And so there's a lot of content. And you'll get that a lot of times with online classes. You get a lot of content. I know in my Animal Reiki for Reiki practitioners class, you get a lot of content. But you have to decide, is that content valuable content, or is it just content? And I know in the Let Animals Lead and SARA, we always try to give you valuable content that you're going to find useful. You may not find it useful that day, but it's something that you can definitely look back on and reference. And so you want to just look and see what that teacher's offering. And are they offering a manual? I don't know that all Animal Reiki schools offer a comprehensive manual. So, and I know a lot of times you can't really see their manual, but a lot of times the teachers will give you the syllabus. So if you wanted to see the table of contents for the Let Animals Lead method, I'm pretty sure Kathleen would approve that. And then you could see, oh, these are all the things I'm going to study. And it's very, very thorough. Now, the content. Okay, you've decided you're going to do a teacher. Now, are you going to do in person or are you going to do online? I don't know about all of you, but in-person classes are just a lot right now. It's like the thought of going out of my house to do an in-person class sometimes is like, oh my gosh, not to teach it, but to take it. I love going out and teaching it, but to take it, to go somewhere and take a class, it's like, so I like online classes, but there's pros and cons. You have to ask yourself, and you might want to ask the teacher, if it's a fairly new teacher, has this teacher been teaching for very long online? Now, one of the reasons that Kathleen doesn't allow anyone besides Kelly and I to teach online is because you have to know how to hold space for your students online. You have to know how to give an attunement online. You have to know how to kind of create interaction and what's the word? And community and engagement in an online course. You don't want to go to an online course where somebody is just talking, and you don't get any interaction. You want to make sure your teacher online is allowing you interaction. So even in the self-study course that I have for Animal Reiki for Reiki practitioners, the self-study, even through that, I email with you every week. If you want to do Zoom, I will get on Zoom with you, because you have to have interaction. You have to have context, right? You have to be able to ask questions and share what it is that you're doing and you're experiencing, and then get feedback. Because otherwise, you're just kind of doing your own thing, and you don't know if there's a better way, or if there's, or if what you're doing is great. You don't know anything, right? So you're just kind of out there. So always make sure, if you're going to take an online class, that it is a teacher that is going to be inclusive, that is going to allow you to have interaction. And with some of the more popular, if you're going to go with somebody who, let's say if you're going to study with a Tony Robbins, okay, right, you're not going to get that. But usually bigger teachers have staff that will interact with you, that have studied with that teacher. So, they're like sub teachers. And that's a good thing too. But you always want to make sure that when you're taking a class, that you're getting the support that you need. Thank you, Wilma. Wilma said, that's why I like studying with you. And then there were a couple more. So Nikki said she was attuned 3A in the Sui Shiki Ryoho lineage, very classic. Oh, very nice. And then Karen said, I did level 3 with Kathleen for LAL years ago, fourth symbol in teacher training. though once the new manuals came out, all of us at that level went through the recertification, to focus specifically on the aspect of being a teacher and the new updated manuals. And that was a really great course too. Because the manuals are really incredible to teach out of. So you just want to make sure that you're getting the support, because if you don't have the support you need, you won't do the practice. If I did the self-study, let animals lead, and you get, it's recordings of previous classes, you get excerpts from manuals and everything. It's a comprehensive class. You get lots of extra stuff from me. But if I wasn't there interacting with you, you might not know if what you're doing is right or wrong, or if like, especially in those classes, it's all for Reiki practitioners. So they're used to practicing a certain way. So I usually have to guide them, to let go of thinking what's wrong, let go of trying to use your hands, branch out to other animals that aren't your own. Because that happens a lot. People are doing self-study, they're at home, they're just practicing on their animals. Your own animals are great, but your own animals will put up with a lot from you. If you go out into your yard and you try to do, a session with a squirrel or birds, it's a completely different experience, right? So you need that. So you want to make sure that you're getting that guidance when you sign up for a class. And again, now, do you want to take it online or do you want to take it in person? So if you take it in person, there's so many benefits, right? You're right there with the teacher. Of course, you're going to get that one-on-one time at some point. You're going to get interaction. You have interaction with other students. You're out there with the animals. It's all very great. But it's like drinking from a fire hose. You're getting all this information, all these experiences, and it's just boom, 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 boom. And you leave feeling like a little shell-shocked. Like, okay, I just experienced all this. Now I've got to kind of go and process it. And if you don't process it by practicing it, you might just take a class and then never go back to it. I've had students do that and they struggle. So you have to ask yourself, do I want to learn in person and get all of that at once? Am I disciplined enough to then practice it? Or do I want to learn online? And I don't get the advantage of being at a sanctuary or a rescue, but I have the advantage of listening to my teacher, interacting with other students, and then practicing the homework for a week, and then coming back and discussing that and discussing what happened and hearing like if my situation was unique or if other people experienced the same thing or whatever have you. So there's benefits to both, right? So you really have to ask yourself, what learning feels best for me? Is it going to be in person and I get, these incredible experiences, especially at CARE. I'm so bummed I'm not going to CARE in February, hopefully in the fall, but then that's hurricane season. So I don't know. We'll see. But the thing about CARE is you're getting experience with all kinds of different animals. You have monkeys, lemurs, you have alligators, you have birds, you have a bear, you have a crocodile, you have tigers, you have the liger. You have so many different animals to practice with, raccoons and skunks and bunnies and just all kinds of animals, right? Oh, goats and just everything. And it's an incredible experience. But again, you're getting a lot over a weekend. And for me as a teacher, it's a lot to share. And I try to share it in chunks that are digestible, but really, it's just a pack-filled weekend of just practicing. And even though you have 2 full days and everything, by probably around 2:00 of the second day or third day, if we're doing teacher, people are just burnt. You're so burnt out from all of the experiences that you just kind of want to walk around in a cloud. And it's great. I don't want to try and downplay in person. And I know that Claudia was in British Columbia with me not too long ago. And we were at Nama Stables, and there was cows and there was little goats and pigs and horses, and it was a lot. but it was so wonderful. And just the experiences were so incredible. So there's a lot to be said for in person, but then online, you get more time and hopefully you get, a lot of interaction that's in a more like calming situation and you don't feel the pressure that, oh my gosh, I have to write everything down. You can kind of get the information and process it a little slower. So that's always really helpful. So when you're looking for your classes, there's a lot to consider. Do you do online? Do you do in person? Who's your teacher? How do they teach? So I know like for Kathleen's level ones, it's a little bit different than her level twos. I think her level ones are usually really, really big. So she has a totally different setup for level ones online. So you want to make sure that you talk to your teacher. Hey, how does this look? Is there time for me to interact with you in the class, when we're online, or is the class too big for that? Is there, what kind of support do I get if I need support in between class time? You want to make sure that you're asking all of these questions because remember, you're paying them to teach you. I'm never offended by questions that people ask me about the cost or the class or what I'm going to teach or how I'm going to teach it because I understand that, and I think all of the Let Animals Lead teachers are like this, that I understand that this is a big investment. And especially in these times, people are really watching their money. So I'm always honored when I have a student come through on like the self-study because it's a big commitment right now. So just don't be scared to question your teacher. Don't be scared to ask, questions that are going to make you feel better. And if they push back on you, if they try to make you feel bad for asking, then that's not the right teacher for you. Any teacher that's going to be right for you is going to be kind, is going to be loving, is going to be supportive. And that's what you want for yourself, I would assume. You don't want someone who's going to kind of brush you off. I remember one of the reasons it was challenging to study with Franz was in his classes were fairly big. We would do a practice and then we'd go around the room and we would share what we were experiencing, right? What we experienced during the meditation. And this is, I don't know if it's because Franz is Dutch or I don't know what it is, but Franz you would share this really intense personal experience and Franz would go, okay. And then go to the next person. Sometimes he'd comment, and you're kind of like, oh my God, I just poured out my heart. And so then you get to a point where, okay, well, I'm not going to share anything because I'm not going to share it and then feel weird afterwards. So that was kind of one of the experiences that I had that I didn't like as a student from a teacher. So you want to make sure that you're finding someone that is going to be compassionate to you as a student. And I think I feel very comfortable saying that any teacher that you would choose in the Let Animals Lead way, and again, Claudia's on the line and Linda's on the line, and I think Nancy too is another one and Karen is also a teacher, that all of us are very compassionate. And so you want to look for that in a teacher. And I don't know any of the ICRT teachers. I know of them. I think that they are all very nice women too. I haven't really come across very many people that aren't supportive in this space. But again, I'm not taking a class with them. I'm not having that kind of interaction. And we have to remember that when you're taking a class, it's a very personal experience, right? Because you're learning. You're very vulnerable when you're learning, right? Because you're there because you don't know what you want to know. So you're very vulnerable as a student. So if you don't find a teacher who's going to honor that and respect that and encourage your growth, then you want to find somebody else. You always want to look for somebody who is going to mirror what you need, right? So it's like, or not mirror what you need, but be able to give you what you need. So for me, even when it's something like AI, and I have this really great teacher, Jonathan Mast, I just love him. But I looked around a lot because in the AI, some of it's like tech bros. I don't want to be learning from a tech bro. I want to be learning from someone who is going to be compassionate to me and understand, oh, I have a nonprofit. I can't afford a lot of money. What we're trying to share is more heart-centered and not, brain-centered. And Jonathan is really, really kind and supportive in that way. And so is his community. And that's another thing. Your teacher will reflect their community. Their community will be reflective of who they are. You can see that in SARA, right? On these calls, you can see that our community is reflective of who I am, of who Kathleen is, of who Kelly is, right? You want to make sure that if they have a community, like Scarlett is another one. If you go on Scarlett's community is very loving and kind, because Scarlett's very loving and kind. So just do a lot of research before you make that investment to take a class. And again, even within the Let Animals Lead method, even within all of us, Kathleen, Kelly, me, Claudia or Linda or Karen or Nancy, we're all very different personalities. Usually people who are very attracted to Kathleen are not attracted to me. People who are very attracted to me are usually attracted to Kathleen because that's not a great example, but like for me, people come to me because I'm kind of no nonsense. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need, right? I teach that way. Kathleen, she created the Let Animals Lead. So she teaches in a much different way, only because she's coming from a different perspective. Kelly, another amazing teacher. Kelly's very soft-spoken. She's very light. She's very calm. And so hers is more like down here. Mine's more up here and hers is down here. So you got to like, what's the energy of the teacher? You're going to learn the same thing from me, Kelly, Karen, or, Linda and Claudia. You're going to learn the same thing. We all are teaching from the same manual. But who are you resonating with? Who matches you, your energy? Or like if you're low energy and you want someone with high energy, then you want me. But if you're somebody with high energy and you're like, oh, I need to calm down, I need to be more down here, Kelly. So just make sure, and I'm only giving us as example. I'm not saying, hey, you've got to study with us for Animal Reiki. You do not have to do that. And I really want to emphasize that. Do not study with anyone just because you think, oh, I have to, or, oh, well, they tell me that's the way it is. No, do your research, go look, find the school that you want to study with first, and then find the teacher through then. And I know that Kathleen's I think she still has a directory of students, but you can go through her directory. You can always look on the SARA site. I know we don't have very many teachers teaching in person right now because it's winter, but that will change. And so there'll be some in-person classes. And I know that Kelly has her online courses starting maybe this week, maybe next. But you can usually miss like one lesson if you were interested in studying with Kelly online. Unfortunately, because of my job, I'm not teaching, but I do have the self-study. But again, Kathleen also has classes starting up. So, but again, if ICRT resonates with you because that's the human that you studied, then study with them, or at least try to figure out what they're offering for free that you can find out, is that the way I want to be practicing? Or there's other schools. I'm only using ICRT because they're big and they kind of match who we are. I think Kathleen Lester on the East Coast, I think she's fairly big. I think she teaches. But you have to really figure out, what do I want to learn? Where am I in my practice and my process? And again, remember, you're going to be vulnerable. You don't want to go to a teacher that is not going to honor that vulnerability. I've been in classes where the teacher was not not Reiki or Animal Reiki. Well, actually one Reiki class, yes, where the teacher isn't supportive. And that makes you feel a weird way about what you're learning. And that, just from a science point of view, is going to affect how you're processing that. Because if you start to feel like nervous, you're not going to be able to absorb the information. So just make sure that the teacher is going to make you feel safe, that the teacher is going to make you feel heard. Go for a strong teacher. Go for someone who has an inner strength. So even though Kelly is low energy, Kelly's very strong. Kelly knows how to manage a classroom. And don't be afraid. Here's one thing I want to share with you guys. Do not be afraid to say to a teacher, this class isn't working out for me. I want my money back. Because there are teachers out there that they don't know how to hold space. So when they're teaching, that let's say we're all in a class together. And Carolyn, I'm going to pick on you just because I know you. So Carolyn is like sharing her experiences, right? So we're saying, okay, well, we did this practice, let's share your experience. And Carolyn is sharing her experience, and she's going on and on and on and on and on. And we all know, oh, time is finite in this class. And she's taking up a lot of time. And so then you start to go, well, am I going to have time to share? And then when I do share, am I going to have to hurry and like say it really fast so that I'm not, so I'm respectable of everyone else? It starts to get in this panic mode because the teacher doesn't know how to say, thank you so much, really appreciate that, but we have to move on. You want a teacher that knows how to teach. And I've had friends who have taken different types of spiritual classes. And a lot of times those teachers don't know how to control the classroom because they're afraid of coming across as not nice. You want to make sure, I know Kathleen, even though Kathleen is so sweet and so kind, she knows how to control a classroom. She knows how to say, thank you so much. We need to move on because we have to give everyone equal time. Make sure you're getting that. If you're not, do not be afraid to say, this isn't working out for me. I don't feel like I'm getting the time that I was promised in class. And I haven't had to do that, but I also haven't had any like classes in my recent history where it's been like that. But my good friend Mary, she spent a lot of money on, it was like a 6-month program, and they were about 2 months into the program. And she's like, this woman just takes over every single time. And the teacher told me, she said, I asked her at the beginning, do you know how to control a classroom? Are you able to handle, situations when certain students get out of control? Because I'm sorry, whatever class you take, there's always one person. There's always one person. And it's just like Murphy's Law. There's always one person. But if you have a good teacher, that teacher will be like, hey, that's great. Thanks so much. But we have to move on, right? And they know how to control it. I've been in classes with Kathleen, in Yakutin and Emoto, where the students try to get kind of confrontational with the teacher. And it's a really good thing not to take anything personally, right? I try never to take it personally. They're coming from a certain situation, but you also want it's also your duty to protect your students in that situation. So you have to say to the person, hey, I'll talk to you after break or during break or whatever, or after class, whatever that is, so that we can talk about this. So when, to wrap this up, when you're looking for a class, there's a lot to consider if you want to get the most out of that class. And going back to the very beginning, no, you do not have to take a class to know how to do Animal Reiki. The reason we teach classes is because if you want to go deeper into your practice, if you want to get better at this skill, because it is a skill. I mean, we all have it innately, like Kristen at CARE. She'd never taken a Reiki class, but what was she doing? She was doing Animal Reiki. She was calming herself, going in with the animals, being present, being in the moment, not focusing on what's wrong, only focusing on the here and now and making the animal comfortable, right? And not pressuring the animal. Did she take an Animal Reiki class? No. She knew how to innately do it. So we all have this within us to do this. But sometimes we need guidance, we need direction. So we have all these free resources for that. And then if you want to say, hey, I'm certified in Animal Reiki, then you take a class. You take a level 1. And if you want to say, hey, I'm certified as a practitioner level 2, because that's really level 1, you can be a paid practitioner. But, we encourage you to go the extra step for your own profession and study level 2 and do your practice. And then, you can say, yeah, I'm certified as a level 2 practitioner. And then if you want, if teaching is your calling, then you go on to level 3. It's a path, but you don't have to pay to learn this. In fact, there's all kinds of things. Even Scarlett was saying, like, her manifestation course, she said, you don't have to pay for it. You can just watch my YouTubes and you'll get the same information. But the benefit of taking a class is you get time with the teacher. You get we're going to give you more things. Like if you take a class with me, you're obviously going to get more than you do on this call. You're going to get a manual, with Scarlett, she had a little manual, and with all of our classes, you have a manual. All three manuals are thick, like 250 pages. So they're all very comprehensive manuals. And it's not fluff. It's a lot of really great information that you can refer back to. So there's a lot to think about before you're going to take a class. Find out if you even really want to learn something, and then find your teacher, and then figure out, is that the right teacher for me? It feels like the right teacher, but we don't know, right? So I know we're coming to time. If you have some questions, I would love to hear it. Otherwise, we can go into a little, you took a level 2 with Elaine. Oh gosh, I love Elaine. And then Claudia, not sure. Oh, Claudia says she's Dutch. That was France. Not sure if it has anything to do with it. I don't think so. He liked to say that he was a certain way because he was Dutch, but whatever. And then let's see here. Oh yeah, and Caroline too. Yes, Caroline too. And then oh, thank you. Claudia said, still very grateful for you for being an amazing driver and guide. Yes, I know. So Carolyn drove Claudia and I around when we went to Nama Stables. Carolyn was the host for us to go to Nama Stables in British Columbia. So we're very grateful to Carolyn. She's such a wonderful person, and we had such a great time while we were there. And that's another thing too. The one thing, even online, even interestingly enough, before video, I used to do the Animal Reiki for Reiki practitioners class in like through TalkShoe. So there was no video. It was just like telephone, right? And just the connections that you make with people, even like in this, the connections you make with people are so deep. And that's why you want to find somebody that not only you want them to be your teacher, but you want maybe to even go further with them, right? And like, I know. Oh yeah, Linda. Oh my gosh, Linda took that class with me years ago on TalkShoe. It was like 2009 or 10 that Linda took that class with me. That's so funny, Linda. Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. But yeah, but I felt, and Linda can probably validate this, even not seeing Linda and knowing Linda, there is such a deep connection because of the material that we're sharing and the experiences that we're sharing. And I'm a pretty open person, and I attract students who obviously are too. So I felt connected to Linda. I mean, I think we met once in person. So, but that was years after the class. So it's just really funny how you can make these deep connections with your teacher just from taking a class from them. So you never know what could be down the road for you. I mean, look at Kathleen and I. She was my teacher, and then we formed SARA right after I took my level 2. So you never know what kind of relationship can be created with your teacher. So just put some time and thought into it. Put some time and just really think, what is it that I want to learn? Where do I want to go with this? And do I even need a class? Sometimes you take classes. I know I've done this with Denise Duffield Thomas. Take classes just so I can be in her energy, just so I can learn from her. And her classes are huge. And, her, what is it? Oh my God, her money mindset group. And so, or Marie Forleo, the same thing. Sometimes you take classes just to be in their energy. But if you're taking a smaller class, just make sure that you're looking for that teacher. And so, oh yeah, Care, that's right. I was going to say that too, Linda. Yes, Care. That was such a great class too. But anyway, I don't know if I answered anything. This is just kind of an overview. I just want to empower you, give you some knowledge that you might not think about when you're going to find a class, right? That's what I try to do here. It's like, yes, I could tell you, okay, you can do this, this, and this when you find a class. There's very obvious things, but then there's those hidden things that you really need to be aware of. And remember, don't be afraid to stand in your truth and say, this isn't working out for me. I thought this was going to be the class for me. It's not. And any respectable teacher will say, yeah, I'll refund your money, because they don't want you to walk away feeling disappointed. I know some teachers might have, like, what I would tell people is if they wanted to cancel or quit, they would lose the percentage that I was donating because that's not going to me anyway. And I don't want to punish the rescue, but all the other money, it's fine. Take it. You know, I don't want someone, I don't need that bad energy. I know that a lot of the other Let Animals Lead teachers are the same way. So just think about that when you're going to sign up for a class. And so we have a few minutes. So let's just take a moment and let me see. Oh yeah. Is it 12:58? Oh, let's just take a moment because I want us, especially since we're going into this new year, I want us to practice this breath. Okay. We're not going to do the official Animal Reiki for Reiki practice or Animal Reiki breath. We're going to do this one. So Karen says, I really like and resonate with how you talked about the timing of things too. Yeah, sometimes doing something at the right time is an important aspect, right? And remember, trust your intuition. I was just hearing some woman was talking about this, you know, she's psychic, whatever. And I don't think it was Taya, was saying that intuition comes in calm. Your ego comes in hot, right? So if it's a calm thing, it's like, I think that's really the right thing for me. That's your intuition. You're like, oh gosh, well, if you don't take it, you know, that kind of panic when you start to feel it appear and in your gut, then you know, oh, that's ego. So we can tell our ego, hey, quiet down for a minute. And then maybe you just say, okay, I'm not going to do it. Right. You know, or you do like my nephew and I used to do, you write on a piece of paper, yes, I'm going to do it. And no, I'm not going to do it. And then and then whichever one you pick, you know, because your gut will say, oh, you chose the wrong one. Right. So thank you, Elizabeth. So what we're going to do is let's bring our hands into Gasho, because this in itself is a way to calm yourself. If you want to bring peace, and I do this at work all the time, you just bring your hands into Gasho and take a deep breath here. And just let off all stress and tension. And let us set our intent that just say to yourself, I am open to receive whatever it is that I need most at this moment in time. And then whenever you're ready, I want you to put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And I want you to close your eyes to close out all outside distractions. And I just want you to just breathe normally here for a minute. You don't have to breathe deep or shallow. Just sit here for a moment and just focus on the feeling of your hand on your heart and your hand on your belly. Now I want you to take in a breath to the count of 4 through your nose. So 2, 3, 4. And then out breath, blow the breath out your mouth to the count of 8. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you can't do 8, if you can only do 6, that's fine. So let's just do a few more of those breaths, just breathing in deeply through your nose to the count of 4. And then on the out breath, breathe out for at least 6 to 8 counts. And blow out as if you're trying to fog up a mirror, or you can blow out as if you're trying to blow out through a straw. And I want you to just keep doing that breath of breathing in deeply to the count of 4 and breathing out, blowing out to the count of 8. And as you do this, I want you to imagine that you're blowing out anything that no longer serves you. And start to feel the calm come into your body. Now, this breath is scientifically proven to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system. It helps regulate your vagus nerve. So proven to help bring calm into your body. And whenever you're ready, you can bring your breath back to a natural state. And just check in with yourself. Do you feel a little lighter? Do you feel a little calmer? Now, I want you to say to yourself, everything always works out for me. Everything always works out for me. Everything always works out for me. Now, if you felt a little tension in your body, say to yourself, it's safe for everything to work out for me. It's safe for everything to work out for me. It is safe for everything to work out for me. And see if that kind of helps to calm that. If ever you start to feel a little stress and tension when you're giving yourself positive affirmations, like it is like, I want to receive something, or I'm envisioning this for myself, always say to yourself, it is safe for me to receive this. It is safe for me to feel worthy. It is safe for me to accept what is going to help me, right? That's a big one. Just always preface it with, it is safe, because it is safe for you to receive. You are worthy. We are all divine beings. So now I'd like us to bring our hand in a gasho and just give thanks to yourself and tell yourself, remind yourself, I am worthy of receiving love. I am worthy of receiving what I want. I am deserving of receiving what I want. And it is not selfish. It is not unkind to want to replenish yourself, to live in abundance, because it is our right as divine beings, each and every one of us, all of us in this world. It is our divine right to have what we want and what we need, and it is safe for us to receive it. So you can open your eyes whenever you're ready. And I want to thank you all so much for being here. And next week, I'm super excited because we have SARA Hauser coming. So SARA isn't like a professional cat Reiki person, as far as like has a show or something like that. But what I love about SARA is I've known SARA for years, and she has just a gift when it comes to Reiki and cats. And she knows all there is to know about cats and Reiki. So if you have a cat, you have questions about cats and Reiki, or you just have a question about cats and their behavior, come join us, because it's going to be really fun. And she also does T-Touch. So if you're interested in learning just a little bit overview about T-Touch, and she uses, oh, thank you, Mary Ellen. She uses T-Touch in conjunction with Reiki. Now, I know we always say, oh, keep everything separate. T-Touch and Reiki can kind of be joined together, and you'll learn a little bit more about that. Elizabeth, oh, great. Elizabeth is trained in T-Touch. You're welcome, Joy. You're welcome. Dawn, thank you both so much. Happy New Year to everyone. And Marilyn, thank you. So come next week if you have cats, or if you're interested in offering Reiki with cats. And I know for me, I don't do it often enough, but I have my own issues that I can't wait to share with SARA and see what she says about it. Because I'm kind of scared of cats, to be honest. I grew up with cats, but I know cats bite, and I'm kind of scared of them. So okay. And so here we go. Nikki saying she's also trained in T-Touch with cats specifically. Yeah, I think it works really well. And then, oh, thank you, Linda. Yes, the questions to ask before you take a class, so remember that. And of course, we'll do a recap, and we'll also put this on YouTube. But thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for spending time with me today. I love seeing all of you. If I didn't get to say hi to you individually, please know that I see you and I appreciate you so much. And I'm so happy to start the year with you. And don't forget Caesar's story. Go on my Facebook, learn about Caesar. He's so amazing. And I really hope it inspires you. Don't worry. If things look dark, just think about that positive. Think about Caesar, And so, oh my gosh, that's right. Dawn has a really great story. Oh, Dawn, maybe you can share that next week. She has a story about doing good Reiki, and a stray cat showed up on her doorstep. It was really cute. So maybe she can share that next week. It's a really great story. So thank you all. I'll see you next week, hopefully. And in the meantime, have an incredible week. Bye.